What up is Marcus Dice Football Dads? Happy Wednesday. We're going to be talking about 2024 draft picks. Why is this even important at this point? 2024 draft picks have been starting to be traded a lot more heavily here, especially with some of these 2023 drafts completed. Now it's like your draft picks are 2024. They're only going to get more valuable as the draft gets closer and closer. Again, these are some of the times that if you're rebuilding or if you're looking for it's kind of a reload here in a year or two, the 2024 class or the 2024 class, you want to know what positions are you going to be able to reload with. What positions look like they're going to be the top few picks here. This is why this type of video is extremely important. Okay, so we're going to start off with who is the number one overall pick. It's going to be Caleb Williams. More than likely, he's USC, 6'1", 220 pounds. The closest thing to Patrick Mahomes, that mobility, the throw on these crazy angles and stuff, the closest thing that you're going to see at the collegiate level. I mean, he has a little, he's a little short, 6'1". He's not like that 6'2", 6'3". We're going to talk about another quarterback that's 6'5", that's more prototypical. But Caleb Williams is right now the 101, and there's a lot of people already putting him into that top 2 round of Superflex drafts, saying if you compare him to Bryce Young and CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson, then he is a complete easy tier above those 3. In fact, the second quarterback is even above those 3 as well. So in quarterbacks, this is where you can start to replenish some of these quarterbacks in super flex leagues. Caleb Williams, it's going to be very interesting to see where he goes in 1 QB leagues. I could see him being that, again, 5 or 6 range, maybe even move up a little, 4 or 5. I mean, when you have an elite quarterback like this, that is where in 1 QB leagues, still, you can find him in that 4, 5, 6 range. Trevor Lawrence was going in a lot of leagues. That's where I see him potentially going. The next quarterback that we're just going to talk about briefly is Drake May. He is 6'5", 220 pounds. He's more that prototypical quarterback. I almost said wide receiver. A lot of wide receivers are big this class. We'll talk about that shortly. But Drake May is going to be likely the number 2 or 3 pick, depending on how this season goes. Does he repeat? Is he the one-year wonder where he ends up falling off even more? Right now, he's kind of stuck into that 3rd spot for now. And there's a wide receiver even above him, which is slightly crazy compared to previous years, but Drake May, 6'5", 220 pounds, has that prototypical size. We want to see it repeated again. If it does, that 102 position in Superflex is going to be very, very tough to choose from because you're going to have that elite quarterback, that elite wide receiver. When we look at even some of these quarterbacks, they're ahead of Justin Jefferson, ahead of Jamar Chase. And so if you can get that elite quarterback, that is why he could sneak into that 102 position here. Overall, after the 2 quarterbacks, there is a little bit of a drop-off for now. We'll see if there's any quarterbacks that get into that top 4, 5, 6 range, have that big leap, that 1-year wonder leap. We're going to go to wide receivers next because we have the number 2 overall prospect. And when I mean you want to go goo-goo gaga over a player, it's not even just because of the name, which is Marvin Harrison Jr. He has that beautiful name that his dad did, who was one of the greatest wide receivers of all time as well. He is 6'4", 205 pounds, goes to Ohio State. If you look at his tape, compared to Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, literally anybody we have done over the last 5, 6, 7 years, we've talked about generational talents. We've talked about Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley kind of into that sphere. I'm trying to think of the last one. Maybe Julio was into that sphere of being a generational talent. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else that... Kyle Pitts at the tight end position. Quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence, Andrew Luck. This is how high Marvin Harrison Jr. could go. I mean, he is potentially, next year, already the 3rd wide receiver taken. You got Jefferson, Chase, whatever order you want, and Marvin Harrison Jr. That is how high he could come in, that is ridiculous, but I also agree to it. It's amazing. If you watch his tape at Ohio State, he is so good. I don't even know how to explain it because just watching him, he looks like an NFL player already amongst boys. It's just fun to watch. Marvin Harrison Jr., again, that's where I want you to know that if you are a team that's desperately needs a wide receiver, if you get that top, if you're sitting at 102, Marvin Harrison Jr. will be there for you, and there's going to have to be some catastrophe to put him outside that top 3. The next one is Emeka Mbukwe, if I can actually say it. It's like Jackson Smith and Jigma. It takes me a little bit of time to actually pronounce these people. I'm more of a math person anyways, just kidding. Well, I am, but he's 6'1", 205 pounds, more of that silky route runner, a little bit thicker, like Devonta Smith, Jerry Jeudy-esque, but more physical. Not the Jerry Jeudy where he kind of shies a little bit more away from the hits. He's a little bit more physical than Jerry Jeudy, but the 6'1", 205 pounds, so he's a little bit bigger. What you're going to notice with this wide receiver class in general is these wide receivers are bigger. This class in 2023 was so small. Josh Downs, you had, why am I blanking? Zay Flowers, you had, everyone was short. Everyone was short, everyone was small. Even Jordan Addison, 175 pounds soaking wet, 180 pounds soaking wet. Really, you had Quentin Johnston, as like the only big player. Everyone else was super tiny or frail or thin or fast, but they didn't really have this big size. And so you're going to get some more receivers. Another one, Malik Neighbors from LSU, 6 feet tall, 195 pounds. There's some other wide receivers that are in that like 6'4", 6'5" range. It's going to be interesting to see where some of these wide receivers go. Just know that you have Marvin Harrison, the elite generational talent. And then you have a couple good wide receivers here, probably into that same tier that we're talking about now when it comes to QJ and Zay Flowers. We'll see if they move above that or if they kind of stay into that tier. So just so you have an idea of talent-wise. Tight end, Brock Bowers, 6'4", 230 pounds. He's undersized. It's the only issue that he has. Everyone's going to talk about it. I don't really care that he's undersized. 63 catches, 942 yards. I think he's going to be a really, really good player. He's probably going to be the number 4 to 6 area here, that middle of the first when it comes to super flex. He's going to be probably behind Caleb Williams. He's going to be probably behind Drake May. He's going to be behind Marvin Harrison Jr., maybe a running back or two, maybe another quarterback that scoots up into there, but he's going to be into that 4 to 6 range. Brock Bowers, I think that's going to be that next tight end that hopefully can get into that like Dallas Goedert or above territory. Super talented, just again, undersized. When you see 230 pounds, you go, tight end? He's basically kind of a thicker wide receiver. I mean, think about it that way. Running backs, we're just going to go through them briefly here for the next minute or two, but we have Raheem Rocket. I'm going to call him Rocket because it is so fun to call him Rocket Sanders. 6'2", 225 pounds. What you're going to have with some of these running backs is you're going to have prototypical size, which we did not have with like Devin A-Chain and stuff. You're going to get more Zach Charbonnet-sized running backs, more prototypical. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs and Devin A-Chain, two of the best running backs of the 2023 class, undersized. Now you're going to get these guys that are 210, 238, 225 pounds, bigger running backs. It's almost like the last class, 2023, was so small, undersized, late class for running backs and wide receivers. And now you get running backs and wide receivers that are big, tall, and running backs that are thicker and more powerful. So Raheem Rocket Sanders, 6'2", 225 pounds. He's number one running back. He's kind of the 1A. 1B is right now Travion Henderson, 5'10", 210 pounds. Right into that Zach Charbonnet type of size. But he comes out of Ohio State. Both running backs I feel like they're pretty confidently in the first round. They're going to be the 1A, 1P. They're not Bijan. There was a point where these guys were very briefly for a moment and speckle in time that they were talked about into that very elite sphere. But I think we feel like they're going to be more of the Miles Sanders, David Montgomery, Josh Jacobs type of running back, which is not bad. It just means you're not going to be the running back 1 overall. You're going to be running back 8 to 20, and that's fine. It's very valuable for Dynasty. You have to have them. But I just don't see potentially the top 3. I mean, again, you can always have a blink of an eye. I mean, Jonathan Taylor was very good for 1 year. Will he continue to keep repeating that? Or will we see the Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, DeAndre Swift, that class has been, and CH, that class has been kind of not a disappointment, but I mean, they've kind of been RB2 territory. Will this RB class be very similar? We have Braylon Allen, 6'2", 238 pounds from Wisconsin. Mr. Rondane Jr., I'm just kidding. He is just a powerful back. I mean, 238 pounds. Think of Brandon Jacobs type of style. He's a fun running back to watch run over people. And then Will Shipley out of Clemson, 5'10", 200 pounds. You're going to have some other running backs again that are in that. I feel like you're going to have a decently deep class. We'll see what ends up happening. It is so hard to predict. Some of these running backs that come out of nowhere, like a Javonte Williams, who blows up on the scene out of UNC. Sometimes that happens where you just don't expect it, or even like J.K. Dobbins kind of blew up on the scene, and so we're always kind of rejudging and stuff. But this is the 2024 class in general. So, all right, we're gonna do another one on probably for Thursday or Friday here. We'll do one very shortly. We'll continue on our Dynasty and a little bit of redraft stuff here. Just I got some drafts coming up here already in redraft in a couple weeks here, so I need to get prepared for some drafting time. And I even have a guillotine league as well, so that's going to be fun. If you don't know what that is, let me know, and I will tell you what it is. It's actually kind of fun. All right, peace out. Take care. We'll see you again soon.